So that is about my family, is about my politics, my political life, and basically what I was just trying to tell you is that I'm a politician. And these kind of things are expected when you are an effective politician. If you are not being sought against or for in politics, then you're not a good politician. If you're not drawing the right attention, if you're not drawing attention, then you're not a politician. I'm being sought for or against, depending on the interest. Because I am a big politician in Zambia. You can't run away from that fact. I am a big politician in Zambia. And with a status quo as it is, no one is between me and Hakainde Hichilema. No one. No one is between me. There is no one in between. All these other people, they are small politicians. If I contest elections today in Zambia, I will be next to Hakainde Hichilema. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. No doubt. And as that is the situation, don't expect that I would have it easy. Mwape Msenge say I don't agree. Mwape, tell me who can be next after Hakainde Hichilema? Who? If not me, at the moment, if not me, who can be next to Hakainde Hichilema? Who? Mwape, give me a name. Give me a name. Give me a name of a politician that can be next to Hakainde Hichilema. The only one who was next to Hakainde Hichilema was Edgar Lungu, and that's why he was facing problems. After Edgar Lungu, there is no one. So with that, don't expect that I would have it easy. No. And don't expect that Hakainde Hichilema will just make a decision without thinking twice. No. He has to think twice. President, my friend member, I'm a politics bakana. My friend member, politics bakana. Anyway, let me not start discussing this. But my friend member, and then you have politics bakana. Even this young man who has come, who is saying he's going to contest elections. I'm not going to mention his name because that is that is campaign for him. No, even this young man, there are these young people who are coming up. They will contest elections. They will do better than Fred Membe. I can assure you that. In the next elections, mark my words. Some of these young politicians who are coming up, who are gaining the courage to say they want to contest 2026 general elections, they will do better than my Fred Membe. My Fred Membe, niba fashion designer, niba modeler, pako poa pictures pa social media. Niba modeler, Fred Membe. But I mean, how can you be a model at your age without even the looks? Modeling is for the young people. But that's what my friend member has taken. My friend member is nowhere. He's nowhere. He's nowhere. But I'm a politics. Yali bakana. Yali bafuruma. Yali bafuruma. So anyway, the point is that whichever way you look at it, niba actor, niba Hollywood actor, unaya ku campaign we muntu, unaya mkopa picture pa airport, now send bag, what you are going for tourism. Mwaiba tukutuka tumbuke fitonturu. Mwaiba mwene pa airport. Nishwele mukuchita campaign ma by elections. Vakopoka picture kwa. Like a Hollywood star. Hollywood star. Kumara tikwa mefutun turu kuma pod kuma nani kane kuma by elections. What did he get? What did he get? Baali kala bala bapera ama nani kana ama permits wa UPND. Nicho bali basura. That's why bapera ama permit wa UPND to have a rally. But ngabakwata rally, who comes there? Bale ishukila nani kane udia. Edgar Lungu. Ili alipo. Ngawapera permit Edgar Lungu ngaisa kwa babantu. Baali kala bali bapera nombali na nani kane permit. Katushinga tekwa George kuli hawa wapere kuti. Who was there? Who was there? Politics they have now. But tinenga wampera. Just imagine. Now where I'm Zambia. I'm in Zambia. Ero wamperati. Rari. Nakangweni nkwata. Akakuvika ka stage filia. Shan. Uleti kuti chawashan. Na UPND can't even give me that. They can't. That's why no kuwelera kule shupa. Mara chitanga waingira mati, uyu muntu yunga tuamulete oyu. Chikawashan. Kuti chawashan. So, I'm not a small guy. After Hakainde Hichilema ni Nevo. The guy that is in between, it's me. Tapadi politician, tapadi. Anyway, so I think I've made my point on that score. But now, I just wanted to give you a little bit of update on what is going to happen in South Africa. So tomorrow, the court is supposed to rule as to whether Edgar Lungu should be buried in South Africa or be brought to Zambia. Sorry, I have to sit like this because naikosako a little bit, but you know. So the court is supposed to rule tomorrow, but I don't know if the court will rule. Why? Because there are a number of applications that have been made in the South African court. There are a number of applications that have been made in the South African court. There are applications that have been made for some people to join in the case. Okay? Have joined us. There are people that have made applications that they want to join in the court cases, in this court case. And the court has not made its ruling. Then there is also a very important case, a very important application, a big application, which is the inspection of the body of Edgar Lungu to ascertain if indeed it is Edgar Lungu that died. The government has made that application. So there are a number of these applications which have been made in the South African court. And the court has not made rulings on those court cases, on those applications. So I'm really wondering if the court will make its ruling as to whether Edgar Lungu will be buried in South Africa or not. because of these applications. I don't see this case being concluded tomorrow. I don't see. Sorry, Peter, I can't cover my stomach because the stitches are itching. You know, if I put my t-shirt, if I put my shirt, you know, on top, it's just something else. So I apologize for doing that because I can't cover that. If I cover that, it's just something else. So I don't see the court making a ruling tomorrow because of these other applications. I think there will be a court directives to hear some of the arguments that have been advanced beside the final ruling. I doubt the ruling as to whether Edgar Lungu should be buried in South Africa or not will be delivered tomorrow. I really think that the court will look at these other applications that have come up. That's what I think. Now, my brothers and sisters, the issue of Edgar Lungu's case, this is where I have seen or I have fallen out with Edgar Lungu and his co-hosts. This is the matter that has separated us, that has made us differ. This is a matter where most of you have come to hate me. People that were even helping me financially have withdrawn because of this matter. I am actually happy that I've been exonerated when people say, no, you do things for money. The Edgar Lungu case has separated me with people that were substantively helping me financially. They have withdrawn. They are not even talking to me. But I'm happy that I've taken the position that I've taken. The position that I've taken has got nothing to do with a UPND. The position that I've taken has got nothing to do with me wanting to come home. I'm just from explaining to you about my political life, the danger that I pose to those in power, the uncertainty that they have about me. I can't think that simply supporting or simply taking this position would bring me back home. No. 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 I'm not a small boy. I'm not a small boy. I am not a small boy that can just be, people can just decide, no, let him come back home. No. No. And from both sides. The UPND, if they have to bring me back, they have to think twice and they need to be very sure of certain things. And I don't blame them for that. Even on my part, I can't just jump on a plane, leaving my immunity, leaving the freedom that I have here. Here, I am protected. Here, I am protected. Well protected. I can't just abandon that to go and throw myself in jail. No. No, I can't. I can't. I'm not a criminal. I don't want to go to jail. I'm not a criminal. So I can't just abandon this and just jump. No, I'm going back to Zambia. No, I can't. I can't. I can't. I need to be sure when I'm going back to Zambia. What am I going to do? Where am I going to be? I need to be sure. Even those in government, even them, they have to think, okay, Tayali is coming. What is he going to do? How are we going to do this and that and that? It's not a simple issue. So it's not an issue that I'm not that naive that I'll take this position and think that I'll go back to Zambia just like that. No. No. I've taken this position because, Mwebantu, it is not right for us to bury Edgar Lungu in South Africa. That is my issue. My issue, I'm very consistent on this one. It is not right that we should bury our former head of state in South Africa. I know some of you are saying, but that's what the family wants. The question is, why do the family want Edgar Lungu to be buried in South Africa? Why? Why is the family wanting to bury Edgar Lungu in South Africa? And yourselves, I ask you a question. Do you think it is right? Do you think it is good for our country that our former Republican president should be buried in South Africa? Objectively speaking, from where you are, I don't mind who you are. Musonda, Mivenge. Musonda, Mivenge. Do you think it is okay for Edgar Lungu, our former head of state, you as a citizen of our republic, you as a citizen of Zambia, before we talk about the family, don't talk about the family, just from your point of view. Just from your point of view, you as a citizen, you are a Zambian, you belong to a sovereign state of the Republic of Zambia. And we have our former head of state in a morgue for almost 2 months now. Because the family is saying that he should be buried there. Before you talk about the family, I ask you, as a citizen, do you think it is right? Do you think it is right? For me, as a citizen, and especially as somebody who is aspiring to lead that country, I see it very wrong. I say it is very wrong. For me, as a citizen of that country, it doesn't matter where you belong, just as a citizen of that country, do you think it is right? Do you think it is right? Don't talk about the family. Just you as a citizen. Do you think it is right? From my point of view, no, it is not right. I refuse. It's not right. Okay, fine. Let's consider the family position. No, but the family wants. The question is, why do the family want Edgar Lungu to be buried in South Africa? The reasons of the family is that they want to respect the wish of Edgar Lungu. Edgar Lungu said that he doesn't want, actually he didn't say, his wish is not that he wants to be buried in South Africa, that he should be buried, Hakainde Hichilema should not come anywhere near. These are the reasons that the family are advancing. That they don't want Hakainde Hichilema to come near his body. So in terms of the family, they want Edgar Lungu to be buried in South Africa because Hakainde Hichilema has insisted that he has to be part of the funeral process. So since Hakainde Hichilema has insisted that he has to be part of the funeral process, then we should bury our former head of state in another country. What is at the center of this? A lack of reconciliation. Because Edgar Lungu and Hakainde Hichilema, they didn't agree. They were rivals as politicians. They were rivals as politicians. This is what is at the center. At the center is these two were rivals. And as rivals, it should continue even in the death of Edgar Lungu. What is that? Isn't that bitterness? Isn't that bitterness? Where is the reconciliation that we as citizens of a Christian nation espouse for? As citizens of a Christian nation, we propagate reconciliation. Is there reconciliation in what the family is demanding? Is there reconciliation? I am a Christian. I'm a Christian. And I propagate reconciliation. So for me, I can't agree that based on the differences that were there between Hakainde Hichilema and Edgar Lungu, we should bury Edgar Lungu in South Africa. I know you can bring in all these arguments to say, no, he was stopped from going for medicals and what and what. That is all bitterness. That is all bitterness. And I find it hypocritical. I find it hypocritical because Edgar Lungu himself was not so kind to Hakainde Hichilema. Edgar Lungu was not so kind to even people like me, to even people like Sean Tembo. Sean Tembo was beaten. Edgar Lungu was not so kind even to people like Fred Membe. Fred Membe had his post completely grabbed and destroyed. Many people losing jobs. So we can bring up all these negativity. But is this something that we should be bringing when somebody has died? Even you who have hated me for it, you don't like me for this. You have hated me for it. But do you really think it is right that we should be insisting on this bitterness when Edgar Lungu is dead? Do you think it is right that we should keep Edgar Lungu for 2 months without being buried because of bitterness? You may hate me for this. You can be saying whatever you want to say. But I strongly believe that the position I've taken is a correct one. It's a correct one. The family, the so-called family, had an opportunity, or they still have an opportunity actually, to bring the country together, to unite the country by putting aside bitterness, putting aside the hatred against one man, Hakainde Hichilema, and saying, let's come together as a country and give Edgar Lungu a dignified send-off. They can do that. Some of you have accused me that, no, I'm attacking the widow. I'm attacking the widow. I'm attacking by Esther Lungu. And you prefer to talk about the family. But I've asked you, or I can ask you, at the end of the day, all these things which are happening, who do you think has to make a decision? Who do you think has to make a decision? Who is the next of kin? Who is the next of kin? All this hula baloo rests in one person. It is not about the family. The family. No. It is about one Esther Lungu. It is about Esther Lungu. When I'm mentioning the name, it's strange. I remember that, do you remember the graduation of Esther Lungu? Do you remember that she was called by a different name? Do you remember? Right now, I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, when Esther was graduating, she was identified by a different name. Why? What name was that? Who can remember the name that Esther was called when she was graduating? Do you remember the name, that name? Anyway, that's a story for another day. But the point I'm trying to make is that the next of kin is Esther Lungu. And all this hula baloo, all this is centered on Esther Lungu. It's centered on Esther Lungu. She's the next of kin. She's the next of kin. Esther Lungu, she is the next of kin. She is in charge of this. She is in charge of this. It is not about the family. It is about Esther Lungu. And the question that I ask you is that, Esther Nyawa Tembo, exactly. Esther Nyawa Tembo. And yet we know her as Esther Lungu, Esther Lungu, but she was called Esther Nyawa. Is it Nyawa? I don't think it was Nyawa Lungu. I think it was Esther Nyawa Tembo. This family, tricky. This family, this family is just something else. It's just something else. As a first lady, we know her something else. When she was graduating, another name. Anyway, I will talk about that one day. But the issue that I'm talking about is that Esther is at the center of all this. Is at the center of all this. And why is Esther insisting? Why can't Esther reconcile with Hakainde Hichilema? Why? Do you think Esther is doing this to preserve the wishes of the husband in his death? No. Esther has got her own agenda. Esther has got her own agenda. And this is why I've been singling her out. I've been singling her out because she is the next of kin. She is the next of kin. And I strongly believe that Esther has got an agenda. And in the subsequent addresses, I will talk about those agenda. I will talk about that. But Esther has got an agenda. And the agenda that she has is not the agenda of mourning the husband, no. So if you are word widow, apate kulira kuli pwapa. Apapali agenda. Te kulira kuli pwapa. Te fia kulira fili pwapa. apapali imingalato. Apapali imingalato. As it is, Esther is controlling PF. As it is. As it is, Esther is controlling PF through her representative, Makebi Zulu. As it is, listen to me very well. As it is, Esther is controlling PF using her representative in the name of Makebi Zulu. She's not standing up to address the PF members and the nation. She's not standing up. But she's standing up using Makebi Zulu. Makebi Zulu, ever since Edgar Lungu died, has by default assumed the presidency of PF. Has assumed by default. If you haven't seen it, open your eyes. Today, who has got the most powerful voice in PF? Today, who has got the most powerful voice in PF? Tell me. Tell me who has got the most powerful voice in PF as we speak right now. Tomorrow they are going to court, and afterwards some people have to make statements. Whose statement are you going to be looking forward to listening to? Whose statement? It is Makebi Zulu. When I given Luvinda, it is just by name. Given Luvinda is an acting president, it is just by name. And if anything, Nakachinda has even got a bigger voice, because Nakachinda is part of Esther Lungu. Is part of Esther Lungu. Given Luvinda is sidelined as we speak. He's just holding on. He's just holding on. But really, he has been sidelined already. Given Luvinda has been sidelined already. Makebi Zulu has taken over. Taken over because of Esther Lungu. If anyone has to play a significant role in PF, he must bow Kuriba Edgar Lungu. Kuriba Esther Lungu. And Esther Lungu is retaining that power because Edgar Lungu has not been put to rest. The moment Edgar Lungu will be truly put to rest, the power over Esther Lungu will go. The moment Edgar Lungu will be buried at Embassy Park, that will be the end. No, government is the one that has prolonged this because they took them to court. Government went to court because they refused to have Edgar Lungu deposited in South Africa. The burial that is going to happen in South Africa is not burying Edgar Lungu in peace. That is depositing. That is depositing. And as long as Edgar Lungu is deposited in South Africa, but Esther Lungu will have control of PF and the money. I'll talk about that later on. I'll talk about that. But Esther Lungu is controlling PF and the money now. She's controlling, mark my words, but Esther Lungu is controlling PF and the money. The moment Edgar Lungu is buried in Zambia, Kwamana, they will lose control. They will lose control. As long as Edgar Lungu is in South Africa, whether he's in a morgue, whether he's in a graveyard, but Esther Lungu retains the power. Retains the power. There is no difference. Don't think that when Edgar Lungu is buried in South Africa, then it's finished. No, there is no difference. that where they want to bury Edgar Lungu there, it is just as good as a morgue. That's all. Chimofana mortuary. Because that story will not be closed. And even you who are supporting to say, but that's what the family wants. That's what the family wants. I can ask you a question. When Edgar Lungu is buried in South Africa, is buried in whatever grave, do you think the story will end? Do you think the story will end? Do you think Edgar Lungu would be resting in peace? The story will be finished? No. 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 The story will still be there. And the story will be Edgar Lungu needs to be brought to Zambia. It will be like immortalizing Edgar Lungu. It will be like Edgar Lungu is still alive. He hasn't come back to Zambia. Edgar Lungu is coming back to Zambia. That is what it will be in the minds of the people. There will be no closure. There will be no closure. It will now, the agenda will be Edgar Lungu has to come back to Zambia. How do we bring Edgar Lungu back to Zambia? It will not be about Edgar Lungu is dead. Can we find a replacement? It will not be. It will not be. The story that will be there, even Bafnyamu Mochari, Bamushika Edgar Lungu, the story will be Edgar Lungu has to come back to Zambia. Thereby immortalizing Edgar Lungu. He will still be alive. And since Edgar Lungu will still be alive, but Esther Lungu is in charge, not Given Lubinda, no? But Esther Lungu will be in charge. And like I'm telling you, by Esther Lungu, he's in charge. She knows about the resources. She knows who has the money for Edgar Lungu. She knows. She'll be controlling. So this is not about Hakainde Hichilema. No, Hakainde Hichilema this, Hakainde Hichilema this. No. No. And I'm not saying this because I want to come back to Zambia. I've got my own political differences with the UPND, with President Hakainde Hichilema. And those issues will not be resolved simply because I have agreed with government on this issue now. That is being naive if you think like that. What is here is about immortalizing Hakainde Edgar Lungu so that Esther can continue ruling. You have already seen all these opposition, they are in agreement. Why are they in agreement? Why are they in agreement? They are scared of Esther Lungu. They want to be considered by Esther Lungu, so they don't want to differ with Esther Lungu. So in a Mumbele Koluse, I'm not disrespecting the widow, no, who is in mourning. Me, I'm looking at Esther Lungu for who she is and what she's doing in this. And somebody has to say it. Somebody has to confront that Esther Lungu to say what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is wrong. Let Edgar Lungu rest in peace. And I know even if when the court will rule, even if, for example, the court rules in favor of government to say let Edgar Lungu come to Zambia, this is very important. This is very important. You need to listen to this. Even if the court rules that no, Zambia, the Zambian government, Edgar Lungu should be buried in Zambia, but Esther Lungu will not come to Zambia. Even if the court rules that the body of Edgar Lungu should come to Zambia, but Esther Lungu will not come to Zambia. She will not. And as the next of kin, the widow, Zambian government will find it difficult to transport that body into Zambia. They'll find it difficult. They'll find it difficult. They will find it difficult. Because how do you move a body of someone leaving the next of kin behind? How? How do you move the body? How do you move a body of somebody leaving the wife behind? How? So don't even be excited to think that, no, this is not about the court. This is not about the court making a ruling. No. This is not about the court making the ruling, because whatever the court will say, whether the court says, no, let Hakainde Edgar Lungu be buried in Zambia, but Esther Lungu will refuse, that I'm not going there. I'm not going. And she will use, we already know that they sought asylum. They're seeking asylum. And according to the Geneva Convention of 1950, when somebody claims asylum, you can't move him from a country to a country where he or she is scared of his rights being violated. Why the Lungus have been insisting to say Edgar Lungu, Hakainde Hichilema didn't treat Edgar Lungu well, it is because they want to justify their asylum application. That argument that you have been hearing, demonizing our government, demonizing Hakainde Hichilema, it is because by Esther Lungu and the so-called family, they want to strengthen their position that they need asylum. They are not letting go. You people are busy being naive and buying into this idea to say, no, Hakainde Hichilema did not treat Edgar Lungu well. They are emphasizing that. No, he didn't treat him well. He didn't treat him well. He didn't treat him well. You know why they are emphasizing that? It is because that is the basis for them to seek asylum in another country. In another country. So they are insisting on that one, so that even if the court says, let Edgar Lungu be buried in Zambia, because of that claim that the government of Zambia has been ruthless to the Edgar Lungu family, their asylum application stands. It will need to be looked at. It will need to be looked at. They can't just be lifted to say go. They can't. And these are high-profile people. The international community will be looking at South Africa. How does South Africa respect the laws regarding asylum seekers? So South Africa's hands are tied. South Africa's hands are tied at this moment. Because even if their court rules to say, let Edgar Lungu be buried in Zambia, they have got applications from this family to say, we are seeking asylum. So how do they kick them out? How do they kick them out? With the international community looking at them. So it is a very difficult situation, and I want to prepare your mind that don't think that this is a situation where government will win. No. 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 On this one, they have calculated it very well, and they have played it very well. They have played it very well. And it's difficult for our government. It's difficult for our government. But what I can ask you is that don't buy into the lies. Look at things as the way they are. Don't buy into the idea of Hakainde Hichilema did not treat Edgar Lungu well. No, don't buy into that. Don't buy into that. Because when people die, there is reconciliation. In difficult circumstances, we reconcile. Even me, when I was sick, when I was thinking that I was going to die, I reached out. I reached out to my government. I didn't say, no, Hakainde Hichilema. I called for reconciliation. That's what I called for. If I had died by now, I would have been in Zambia and there would have been no all this nonsense. So when they say, no, he did this, ask them, at which point are you going to reconcile? But they are doing that. It is because that is what is holding them to claim for asylum. That is what they are using to claim for asylum. So they can't drop that. If they drop that, then their asylum application falls off. It falls off. So they have to insist, no, this man, Hakainde Hichilema, is very bad. No, they have to keep on that. They can't drop that. They drop that, they have lost the application of asylum. So they want to hold on to that. So for the Zambian government, all we can say is that they are doing their best to fight it, so that at the end of the day, at least you Zambian people can appreciate that they tried. But But at the end of the day, this is not a case whereby no, the Zambian government will win. No. No. Because Esther LUNGU and his people, they are playing these cards. This is not about Ukulila. This is not about the funeral, mourning Edgar Lungu. No. This is about high politics and power. Power to control the biggest opposition. Power to control the money that Edgar Lungu has left stashed in different places and in people. This is what it is about. It is about controlling the biggest opposition political party in Zambia, in spite of how much it has been dismantled here and there. But you know, a political party is not about the name. It is about the people. And there are a number of people. We still have a number of MPs. I think about 52 MPs, if not 51 now. 51 or 50 members of parliament. We still have a number of mayors and council chairpersons. So there is a PF in people. By name, yes, it can be in Chavinga can be yapping, but it's nothing. PF is still existing in people and the structures of government. And somebody has to control that. Who do you think has to control that? Who do you think is controlling that today? It's Esther LUNGU. She's not saying anything because she's smart. She's controlling PF using Makebi Zulu. Makebi Zulu has got so much power because Makebi Zulu is speaking for the family. But who is that family? Who is the next of kin? Esther LUNGU. Edgar Lungu left money stashed around. Edgar Lungu left money in people. Who knows about these people? Who has to control these people? Esther Lungu. Esther Lungu. So there is no way that Esther Lungu is going to come to Zambia. And surely there is no way that that body of Edgar Lungu is going to come to Zambia, because if that body comes to Zambia and it is buried at Embassy Park, Kwamana, the power to control PF, to control the money, will not be there. Will not be there. Will be dead. But as long as that body is in South Africa, Esther Lungu will retain the power. It's not about the widow. It's not about disrespecting the widow. I'm telling you things as they are. I'm telling you things as they are, and I can back it up. I'm backing my points. Like I'm telling you, who is in charge of PF today? Do you think it is given Luvinda? Ask yourself, do you think it's given Luvinda? No. Do you think it's Brian Mundubire? No. Who is in charge of PF today? Who is in charge? Makebi Zulu. But where is Makebi Zulu drawing the power? Where has Makebi Zulu all of a sudden gotten the power? Where? From Esther Lungu. From Esther Lungu. Where is Valungu? Where is Esther Lungu drawing the power? From Ichitumbi Chava Edgar Lungu. So how do you expect that to let go? How do you expect that? She loses Ichitumbi, she loses the power. As long as Edgar Lungu is not buried in Zambia, she retains the power. And she speaks through Makebi Zulu. Once the party forward. With Nakachinda there as Secretary General. Chapwa. PF is in the hands of Esther Lungu. Makebi Zulu is speaking for him. Nakachinda is on the payroll of Esther Lungu. Nakachinda can't survive without that financial thing. And it is the same thing that would have happened with me. It is the same thing that would have happened with me. That's what they wanted to do with me. That's what they wanted to do with me. Because they were paying for this apartment. They were paying for this apartment. And they told me, if you don't agree with us, we'll stop paying for your rentals. And I told them, you can go to hell. I really said that. You can go to hell. I'm not going to agree with you. Even me, if I was not courageous, I would have been singing here, Vaesta, 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 Vaesta. But no, Tefon bomb. Tefon bomb. Anyway, that is just what I wanted to share with you. That tomorrow I doubt the court will rule. I doubt the court will rule because of the number of applications. And then besides that, even if the court rules in favor of the government, Esther Lungu is not coming to Zambia. And if Esther Lungu is not coming to Zambia as the next of kin, there is no way Chitumbi would come to Zambia. There is no way. There is no way. So the situation as it is that this situation is not ending now. It's not ending now. It's not ending now because it's about power. It's about power. And the agenda of Esther Lungu and everybody else is to see Hakainde Hichilema out of power. So this story is a new agenda of the opposition. The opposition that we have now is Edgar Lungu Muchitumbi. That is the opposition that we have. And they will not stop. They will keep on. They will keep on. They will fight, they will fight, they will fight. This is what they are using. This is their last political straw. They can't let go of this. They can't let go. Hakainde Hichilema is not being fought because he wants to see Chitumbi. Because, no. He's being fought because he's the president. And they want him out. They want him out. It is politics here. Don't think that, no, Tayali, you're not, no. Tapali fia kulila pa, tapali fia vuna kulila pa. Tapali fia kamfu idwapa. Now if people sakale, Kadeva people say they have thrown this issue of mourning and widow, they have thrown it through the window. Didn't you see them to court? Eva lady tabalaba di kuma court. Na mairo mukabamona. Fia lipwe fia kulila. Fia lipwa. Apa it's about power, it's about money. Thank you very much. I will see you tomorrow. If I'll have the energy, I will give you an update of what will have transpired in South Africa. Otherwise, I ask you to continue praying for me. Me, I'm just a genuine guy. Genuine guy. Just a genuine guy. I say things as they are. Things as they are. Whether you like me, you don't like me, that is your problem. Whether you withdraw your funding, it's okay. It's okay. It's your money. It's your money. It's your money. But at least I'm not enslaved by anyone. I'm not enslaved by you people who are helping me with money. I'm not enslaved by President Hakainde Hichilema. I'm not. Me. It's only God who looks after me. May God bless you. May God bless Zambia. Good night.